So on the request of some students, I am going to revise the development of the respiratory system. So the respiratory system, we divide the respiratory system. Divide the respiratory system and anatomically we divide it into the upper part and the lower part. The upper respiratory tract includes the nostrils, nasal cavities, paranasal air sinuses, pharynx and larynx. And the lower respiratory tract consists of trachea, bronchi, terminal bronchioles, respiratory bronchioles and alveoli. We also divide this respiratory system functionally. So the functionally it is divided into the conducting part and the respiratory part. Conducting part, it means which conducts the air from the upper respiratory tract to the lower respiratory tract. So it includes from the upper part of the tract up to the terminal bronchiole. And what is the function of this? It facilitates the conduction, cleaning, warming and moistening of the air. Then we have the respiratory part. Respiratory part itself means where the respiration takes place. So it includes the respiratory bronchioles, alveolar ducts and alveoli. So it is concerned with the exchange of gases. Now we will see the development of the various component of respiratory system. From the pharynx. Pharynx you already know from the alimentary system. You know the pharynx, the face, nose, palate, and you all the development you have already I have already taught you in the other chapters. Now here we will see the first of all the primordia of the respiratory system. It means how the respiratory system develops. So here it develops from the respiratory system arises as an diverticula. The diverticula arises from the cranial most part of the pharynx. So as you know, the primitive gut is an endodermal in origin. So if the diverticula is arising from this primitive gut, so that diverticula is known as a respiratory diverticula. So it means its epithelium is also endodermal in origin. So we can say the respiratory system is endodermal in origin. And that endodermal origin, how it arises? As a diverticula from the foregut, from the cranial most part of the foregut, that is known as this diverticula is known as the respiratory diverticula. And the other structures, that is besides the epithelium, we have the cartilage, we have the connective tissue that is derived from the splachnopluric intraembryonic mesoderm, which is surrounding this part of the foregut. So the lining epithelium of the larynx, trachea, bronchi, bronchioles and alveoli are endodermal in origin, and the connective tissue, cartilage, muscles and the other structures related to it of the respiratory system are derived from the splachnopluric mesoderm surrounding the foregut. Now we will see how this respiratory diverticulum, that is also known as the laryngeotracheal diverticulum, arises. So it arises, it is first seen as a midline evagination, that is known as the respiratory diverticulum or laryngeotracheal diverticulum from the ventral wall of the pharyngeal part of the foregut. So this is the ventral part of the foregut. We have this foregut part, we have midgut and we have the hindgut. So from the ventral part we have seen as evagination from the cranial most part of the foregut as a diverticulum, that is known as the respiratory diverticulum. So this diverticulum arises just caudal to the hypobrachial eminence. Hypobrachial eminence, as you already know, when we have seen the development of the tongue, we have seen just behind the swellings, the two lingual swellings, we have the tuberculum impar. Behind that, we have the another midline depression, that is known as the hypobrachial eminence, which was divided into the cranial part and the caudal part. The caudal part gives rise to the epiglottis. So just behind this hypobrachial eminence, we have this diverticulum which arises from the foregut. So we can see it arises from the floor of the developing pharynx. So this diverticulum extends caudal in the caudal direction and elongates. So it goes down as a caudal direction and gets elongated. You can see. So here in this picture you can also see this is the foregut, the cranial most part of the foregut, which later on forms the pharynx. So from the ventral part of the pharynx, a diverticula arises, that is known as the respiratory diverticulum. Here you can see we have this diverticula arising from the ventral part of the foregut. This is the diverticulum that elongates towards caudal end. Okay, it is elongating towards the caudal end, and it is when it reaches down, the lower part, its lower part bifurcates. Here you can see it is bifurcating. So the bifurcation, the caudal part which bifurcates, this forms the lung buds. So this bifurcation forms the right and left lung bud. This lung bud later on forms the bronchi and the lung parenchyma. Now we will see the part now above this bifurcation is known as this part forms the trachea. So this forms the trachea upper part, and these forms the bronchial buds. The bronchial buds forms the lung parenchyma and the bronchioles. Now we will see how this tube that is known as the laryngotracheal tube, it separates from the foregut. As I told you, it arises from the foregut. Now it has to get separated from the foregut. Now how it separates? Here you can see we have this is the laryngotracheal tube. A septum arises, or we can see a groove appears between this laryngobrachial tube and the foregut. That is known as the tracheoesophageal groove. This groove deepens and approaches towards each other, and this is known as, when it approaches towards each other, they are known as the tracheoesophageal septum. Here you can see, so this is the groove arising. Okay, this is the groove, tracheoesophageal fold, a groove, it deepens and approach towards each other and forms the septum. That septum forms the cranial most part, is known as the furcula. ठीक है, जो cranial most ही है इसको septum को हम कहते हैं furcula of His. And because of this septum, when it arises, because of this septa, this tube, the pharynx and the laryngotracheal tube, which is the trachea, it separates from each other. So as the groove approaches, deepens, it approach towards each other and forms the septa, and this septa separates this tracheoesophageal groove, that is the laryngotracheal tube, with the foregut, that is the esophagus behind. Now we can see that how this inlet is formed. Okay, so we will see separately each system, how trachea is formed, how larynx is formed, and how the lung is formed. So first of all, we will see the larynx. The larynx develops from the cranial most part of the laryngotracheal tube. So this was the laryngotracheal tube overall. So the cranial most part, that is which are still in connection with the foregut, this part forms the larynx. This red one forms the larynx. So it is formed from the cranial most part of the laryngotracheal tube. Now the larynx has the inlet that is known as the inlet of the larynx. It is a communication between the laryngotracheal tube and the pharynx, and it persists as a slit-like orifice, that is known as the inlet of larynx or furcula of His, that I told you. This is a furcula, that is the septum, the cranial most part of the septum. It forms the inlet of larynx. This laryngeal inlet is surrounded by the mesenchyme of the fourth and sixth pharyngeal arch. So these from the mesenchyme of this pharyngeal arch proliferates and from the cartilage, that is the thyroid cartilage, cricoid cartilage, arytenoid cartilage, which forms the inlet of the larynx. The slit-like laryngeal inlet was first U-shaped in the beginning. It was U-shaped. So here you can say it is a slit-like. This is the inlet of the larynx, which is, you can see, the slit-like. Okay? Then it becomes a U-shaped. U-shaped because it is surrounded anteriorly by the epiglottic swelling, that is the hypobrachial eminence, and each side from the arytenoid cartilage. So we can see because of the proliferation of the mesenchyme of the fourth and sixth arch, this U-shaped laryngeal inlet now changed into a T-shaped. ठीक है, पहले U-shaped था, now it becomes the T-shaped. देखो इसको T-shape है. ठीक है, पहले U-shaped था, then because of the proliferation of the mesenchyme, fourth and sixth pharyngeal arch, it become T-shaped. So after becoming the T shape, we can see because of the why it become T shape, because the recognition of the cartilage, that is the cricoid cartilage, we have the thyroid cartilage, we have the cuneiform cartilage and epiglottis. Due to these cartilages, it become T shaped. Here you can see it was first U shaped. It was only surrounded by epiglottic swelling and the arytenoid cartilage. Then with the further development of the other cartilages, that is the cuneiform cartilage, corniculate cartilage, it become T shaped. So here you can see it was a diverticulum. The diverticulum goes downward as a laryngotracheal tube. It bifurcates. After the bifurcation, this is known as the lung bud. Each bifid forms the lung bud. That lung bud goes and invaginates the pleural cavity. Okay? And then it is known as the then it is surrounded by the pleura. Now we will see the developmental component of the larynx. First of the lining epithelium. The lining epithelium of the larynx is derived from the endoderm, and the cartilage, that is the epiglottis, thyroid cartilage, cuneiform cartilage, they are derived from the fourth arch. Okay? And cricoid cartilage, arytenoid cartilage, corniculate cartilage is derived from the sixth arch. The muscles of the larynx is derived from the brachial mesoderm, because we can see it is indicated by the nerve supply of these muscles. That is, all the intrinsic muscle is supplied by the recurrent laryngeal nerve, that is the nerve of the sixth arch, except the cricothyroid, which is supplied by the external laryngeal nerve, which is derived from the fourth arch. So interior of larynx, initially there will be rapid proliferation of epithelium of larynx, and which occludes its lumen. Later on it shows the recanalization, and it forms the due to the recanalization it forms the recesses, that recesses are known as the ventricles of the larynx, which you will see in the gross anatomy. आप देख पढ़ोगे तो आपको पता चलेगा उसमें बहुत से recesses है, और वो recesses क्यों बनते हैं, क्योंकि पहले जो lumen था इसका वो occluded था due to the proliferation of the cells, and later on due to the recanalizations and various recesses is formed. ठीक है? So you will see it in the gross anatomy. So hence the sensory innervation of the mucosa of larynx above the vocal fold is from the internal laryngeal branch of vagus nerve, whereas the part below the vocal fold is from the recurrent laryngeal nerve. So it is very important to note here the muscles of the larynx, all the muscles of the larynx except the cricothyroid is supplied by the recurrent laryngeal nerve, which is the nerve of the sixth arch. But the cricothyroid muscle is supplied by the external laryngeal nerve, which is the nerve of the fourth arch. And the sensory innervation of the larynx above the vocal fold is supplied by the internal laryngeal nerve, and below the vocal fold is supplied by the recurrent laryngeal nerve. It is very important here, you have to be noted. Now we will see the trachea. The trachea develops from the intermediate part of the laryngeal tube that lies between the point of its bifurcation into the bronchial or lung bud and the larynx. अब जो part था between the larynx and the bronchial bud, that part forms the larynx. Here you can see we have the larynx. It is surrounded by the cartilage, and these cartilages is arytenoid cartilage, cricoid cartilage, corniculate cartilage. They are surrounded with this part and forms the inlet of the larynx. देख सकते हो. So the recanalization, various recesses is formed. That is the vestibule, when vestibular folds are formed. Laryngocele, laryngocele is a condition in which the laryngeal saccule is abnormally large. It extends beyond the larynx proper and may even form the swelling in the neck. Then we have the congenital stenosis. There may be stenosis or atresia, or the entire larynx or a part of it may be duplicated. Laryngoptosis is a larynx lies low down in the neck. A part it may be behind the sternum. One or more of the laryngeal cartilage may be absent. These are the anomalies associated with the larynx. Now we will see the trachea. I told you it is developed from the intermediate part of the laryngotracheal tube that lies between the points of bifurcation and the larynx. So with the cardiocranial extension of the tracheoesophageal septum, the trachea also elongates. Now the endoderm is derived from its laryngeotracheal diverticula. So the lining epithelium of the trachea is also endodermal in origin. The cartilage, muscle, and connective tissue develops from the splachnopleuric mesoderm surrounding the laryngeotracheal tube. Now we will see the components of the extrapulmonary bronchi. The laryngeotracheal tube divides during the 5th week of intrauterine life to form the right and left bronchi. You can see it bifurcates and form the right and left bronchi, and these bronchi forms the right and left principal bronchi. The right principal bronchus is larger than the left and is in line with the trachea. Okay? And the left one comes to lie more transversely. Now intrapulmonary bronchi and lungs. The formation of the pleural cavity and the pleura, I have already taught you that. So with the subsequent growth of the respiratory diverticulum in caudal and lateral direction, the lung buds comes in contact with the respective pericardio-peritoneal canal and bulges into it, that you already know. Okay. So these were the lung buds and they were approaching the pleural cavity. Okay. So when they approach, they just invaginates. Because of this invagination, it becomes divisible into two layers: the outer layer from the parietal layer, and the part which is inner to it comes to lie the lungs and form this visceral layer. Okay. Then this principal bronchi is divisible into the lobar bronchus, that is the segmental bronchus. First of all lobar, then we have the segmental. Okay. Then we can say, now you can see we have the 3 lobes in the right hand, so it is divisible into the 3 lobar bronchus, and on the left side we have the 2 lobe, so it is divisible into 2 lobar bronchus. Then it is further divisible into the segmental, that is the 10 on each side. Now we will see the various how the principal bronchus is divisible. I told you that. So these are the various stage of the formation of the maturation, how the lungs are matured. So first we have the canalicular stage, then we have the saccular stage, then and third one we have the alveolar stage. This one is the pseudo-glandular stage. Here we can see that we have the terminal bronchioles, which are surrounded by the cells. These cells, the lungs is similar to the exocrine glands here, and it gives appearance of a tubulo-acinar mucus glands. Bronchi is divisible into terminal bronchiole. The respiratory portion of lung is not yet developed, so respiration is not possible here. Hence, the premature fetus born at this stage cannot survive. Then we have the canalicular stage. This one. Here we can see there are the generations of the bronchiolation of the bronchial tree is formed. Respiratory bronchioles, alveolar duct, and few alveolar sacs are formed. So we can see the respiration is taking place to somehow. So fetus born at this stage can survive if intensive care is provided. Then we have the third stage, that is the saccular stage. This is the saccular stage. Here the more number of primitive alveoli have been developed. We have the change in the lining epithelium. We have the type 1 pneumocytes and we have the type 2 pneumocytes. Okay? That type 2 secretes the phospholipid rich surfactant that prevents the collapse of the lung. So at this stage we can see the fetus born at this stage is viable, that is beyond the 26th week of full term. Then we have the last stage, the alveolar stage. Here the division of respiratory bronchioles forms the alveolar duct. We have the definitive alveolar sacs, we have the duct, we have the sacs. Okay, we have 2 types of cells. So it is the mature lung, and from the birth up to the 8 years of postnatal life. So here you can see the rapid exchange of gases are taking place. So this is the trachea. This is the bronchial tree we say. Then it is divisible into primary bronchus. ठीक है, that is the two principal bronchus, right and left. Then we have the secondary bronchus, that is the lobar, which is three in right side and two in left side. Then we have the segmental bronchus, that is 10 on each side. The segmental bronchus divides into the terminal bronchus. Then terminal bronchus shows the respiratory bronchiole. The respiratory bronchiole have the alveoli where the gases exchange take place. Then it leads to the alveolar duct, and alveolar ducts lead into the alveoli. This is the bronchial tree. As you already told about the how the lung evaginates the pleura, because of this evagination they become incontinuous towards each other at the hilum of the lung, and the inner layer from the its visceral layer, and the outer from the parietal layer which covers the thoracic cavity. Here you can see how the lung evaginates the, it has been seen as a fist where we can, which goes into the balloon. This is the anomalies, that is the tracheoesophageal fistula. It is various types. I have already told you. This is the various types of tracheoesophageal fistula. We may have the accessory lobe, azygous lobe. I have already explained you in the lecture when the classes were on. Okay, thank you so much. I hope it will help you. Best of luck.